So this is DanceCuts. This is our editor built specifically for dancers to edit and mix their own music for their dance routines. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what DanceCuts is and what it's capable of and how it works. So let's just get right to it. So the first thing is you want to make sure that you're logged in here. If your name is not here, you can go ahead and click this and sign in. And second thing is, if this is your first time using DanceCuts, I would jump into this tutorial project here because this will walk you through in an interactive tutorial project that kind of shows you all the features and the tools that are available to you and just walks you through making a mix start to finish. So it's a super easy way to get to know what DanceCuts is and how it all works. We're going to go ahead and start a new cut here. So I'm going to click there, and then we are going to name this My Awesome Mix. And what I plan to do here is just walk you through each tool here from top to bottom. So I'm just going to start at the top here and kind of let you know what all these buttons do. This is kind of your main menu of all the tools that you have, and then we'll show you how to kind of navigate and work this really simple, easy editor. So first thing here is the sound effects tab. You can access this by clicking this button or just by clicking the sound effects tab over here. And this gives you all these sound effects that you have available, and we have categorized them, and you can preview them by clicking the play buttons here. And if you want to use one, you can just drag it down into your mix. Simple as that. And you can search too. If there's a specific one you have in mind, you can type whatever you're looking for and it'll pull those up. The second thing here is the tutorials. So if you click here, you'll see that you have a list of short tutorials available to you to help you learn or just refresh your memory on different things, how to cut a song, how to use the scissor tool, the selector tool, the snap tool, etc. The third thing here is the snap tool. I'm actually going to show you this while we start to make a mix because it's a little bit difficult to explain, but showing it's a little bit easier. You have undo and redo. And you can use the typical shortcuts for these as well, the Control Z or Control Shift Z, or if you're on a Mac, then it would be Command Z and Command Shift Z for those. And then we have our speed tool here. So this allows us to change the speed of a song. We have our vocal remover tool here, which allows us to remove vocals or remove the music from a song. And then we have our scissors tool here for quick cutting of our songs. So let's go ahead and make a really quick and simple mix here. My plan is to use two songs, and we're going to use the first part of the first song and the second part of the second song. So first thing we want to do here when we start a mix is obviously we want to add some music to our mix. So we'll click Import Song. There are a few ways you can do this. Search allows you to search Apple Music's database. So for example, if I'm looking for the song Attention by Charlie Puth, I can find it here. And as you can see, I actually already have this downloaded to my computer. So if you have a song already downloaded or in your iTunes library or in your downloads folder, it'll show up here as import. If you don't have it, it'll look like this. You'll have an Amazon purchase button and an Apple Music purchase button. So you can go ahead and buy those songs. And the reason you have to buy these songs instead of just syncing with like an Apple Music or Spotify account is because those streaming services for listening to music, they don't actually give you the MP3 file of the song. They just give you access to listen to those files up on a server in the cloud somewhere. So when you buy the song, it'll actually download the MP3 file, and then you're able to import it and manipulate it and work with it in DanceCuts. So just so you know, that's why those buy buttons are there if you have an Apple Music subscription already. So if I go back here, and then you have your iTunes library option. So this just opens your iTunes library, all the songs you have in there that are purchased. And you have My Computer, and this is just all the songs that are in your downloads and music folders. And DanceCuts automatically scans your computer for files, which is really cool. So anytime you download a new song, all you have to do is click Rescan Files, and that'll update the list of all the songs that you should have on your computer somewhere. And then I can alternatively just browse for a file. This pulls up just my standard browser, so I can just navigate to wherever that song is. And then finally, we have recently imported. So if you've imported some songs, they'll show up here. So these are the last times that I imported those. So here's the two songs I'm going to work with. Song number 1. And then we're actually going to just stick with this right now. So the first thing I want to do here is use what's called my selector tool. So the top half of DanceCuts here, this is how you select the parts of the songs that you want in your mix. And as you can see, the bottom half is your mix. So this is where you're going to compile and create your dance mix. So let's come back up here to our selection tool. We have our transport bar here to stop, play, or move along the timeline with these two buttons here. And then we also have our zoom tool here. Alternatively, you can zoom with your scroll wheel, or I can use my plus and minus keys on my keyboard. And that zoom tool is going to zoom wherever the cursor is on the timeline. So this cursor here just shows you where the playback is of that file. So I can come anywhere on here and click this play button, and it's going to play that song and wherever that cursor is. If I come to the beginning here, I want the first part of this song. So I'm going to just grab maybe from the very start all the way up until let's say right here about a minute in. So let's play this back and listen for the downbeat where I want to transition into the next song. Okay, so that downbeat would be great. So I'm just going to take my selector tool. So this dark highlighted portion, that's called our selector tool. Let me zoom out all the way. And I'm just going to extend this out. If I hover over here, you'll see that little arrow. So I can extend this out and grab that portion of the song that I want. And then all I have to do is simply click and drag down onto my mix. And I have just cut out that portion of the song and placed it into my mix. And I can zoom in here and you'll be able to see, zoom in down here on my mix window, that there is the downbeat that I'm looking for. If I play that back again. So there you go. So that downbeat, so I'm going to just shorten this a little bit actually and do it like that. So if you hover over the edge of any clip, you can shorten or lengthen it after you've added it to your mix. Okay, so I've got that how I want it. So now I'm going to import my next song. I'll go to recently imported, song number 2. Okay, and once that's loaded up, I want to grab the last part of the song. Before I do that though, I want to kind of show you the snap tool really quick. So if I turn that on, what that's going to do is it's going to snap all of my actions here. If I take this cursor tool, it's going to snap to that selector tool here. The front and back of it. And if I have 2 clips, I'll just pull this down here for a second. Those are going to snap as well. As you can see, if I drag this really slowly, they'll snap together like that. So if you do find that you're trying to move things around and they're not moving as smoothly as you want, just make sure that this is not on, because that's usually going to be the culprit is your snap tool. So I'm going to turn that off. That way I can slide that smooth. Okay, so I don't need that there. I'm going to delete that. But I can actually use what's called snap points. So if I turn this on again, then I can turn on some snap points. And you can add a snap point to your audio file using your / key on your keyboard. If I hit that button, you'll see that it just added this little green snap. And now my cursor is going to snap there and my selector tool is going to snap there. So I'm going to show you how we can use this kind of in real time. If we play back the song, we can find some stronger downbeats that we could use in order to transition and find those downbeats easier. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to hit play and add those snap points in real time. 1, 2, 3, 4 there. And I can add another one here coming up. Ready and go. One more here. And as you can see, I could do this as much as I want, as many times as I want, or as few times as I want. So now that I've got those in there, this will just really nicely snap to those points. And if I just wanted to grab a little section, I could do that and then shorten my selector tool to snap to that first one. And there I've got that easily lined up and ready to go. So now that that's down in my mix, I've dragged that down. I can zoom out and I just need to line up the downbeats here. So I'm going to extend this out just a little bit, turn off my snap so that I can line this up, and I can see there that there are my 2 downbeats there. And if I did line those up to the snap point, that would work probably just as well, but I can see there that it's just a little bit off. I was just a tiny bit late in hitting my snap point there. Let's go ahead and play back this transition and see how that sounds. Okay, pretty smooth. It's definitely in time, but it's not as smooth as it could be. So I'm going to zoom in here, and there's 2 ways that I can smooth this out. One is to simply adjust my fade. So on each clip, you're going to have these little white boxes in the corner, and that is a fade that is automatically added to the clip. So all I have to do is drag this in, and that'll fade out, and then I can fade this one in, and that's going to smooth out my transition a little bit. Let's play it back again. So that helped a little bit. Another thing that really helps is the sound effects. So I'm going to hop over into my sound effects panel, and I can preview some of these booms. These are kind of my favorites. So if I play boom 1 here, that sounds pretty good. I can play number 3. That's a little more subtle. I like the first one, so let's go ahead and drag that down into my mix like this. And as you can see, I don't really have room to put it anywhere, and I don't want to just kind of overlap it. So the best thing to do to line this up perfectly, I'm going to close this panel, is to add another mix track. When I click this plus button, it's going to add a 3rd track, and I can add as many or as few of those as I want. 2 or 3 is going to work for me just fine. I just tend to layer and alternate and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then add all my sound effects at the bottom. That usually works really well for me. So now that boom sound effect is in here, we can come in, we can zoom in again. Again, it's plus on your keyboard if you want to do it there. And you can see here's my downbeat, and if I just line that one up, and this one looks like it needs lined up as well, so now all 3 of those are lined up nicely. I can zoom back out, and we'll play that back and see how that sounds now with the explosion sound effect in there. Very clean. And if you think your sound effects are too loud, in this case, which I do, I'm going to turn this down a few. So on each clip, you'll see there's a volume and also a pitch on every clip. And I can drag that down and make it a little bit quieter. So I'll play that back now and see how that sounds. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. And then again, the pitch, I'll just kind of show you how that works. It works exactly how you think. If I just click here and drag up or down, this is just going to raise it or lower it by a semitone or a half pitch if you're musically inclined at all. But you can hear it without the pitch shift. And then I can pitch it up 1 or 2 or 3, however many I need to, and then I can play it back again. And you can hear that pitch has shifted up 3 half steps. Okay. So that is the gist of it. I've just made a really quick and simple mix. If I wanted to, and I could extend this out to the end, or if I kind of liked where that snap point is, I can also just fade out to that point as well and adjust my fade and have like a longer fade to the end. Okay, so coming back up here, we've got the snap tool done. We've got our undo, we've got our redo. So the speed tool here, if we click this is going to allow us to adjust the speed of our clips. Now, right now, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to tell us what our clips BPMs are. And BPM just stands for beats per minute. It's just a way in the music world to determine how fast somebody should play a song against a clock, right, against a minute. So 109 beats per minute. This is 125 beats per minute, so it's a little bit slower than this one. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a little bit to match, so that way the transition's even smoother. So if I click here, it's going to pull this drop-down menu here, and this is where I can change the speed. I can change this here by double-clicking and just change this to 129 so that it matches my first song. Or I can use these plus and minus buttons to just bring it up there, or alternatively, I can slide this slider tool, which is not as easy, so get it close, and then from there, I can just adjust down to the 129, and then all I have to do is click Apply. There is an Apply to All button here as well. What this is going to do is if you had 2 instances of a song, let's say I had another part of this song down here in my mix somewhere, if I clicked Apply to All, that is going to change the speed of all instances of that song at the same time. But I'm just going to click Apply here, and you'll see it applied that speed, and now those are matched. So that's a really quick and easy way to change the speed of a song. So moving right along, we have our vocal remover tool. So if I click here, this is going to look similar to our speed tool. You're going to have the option to turn off the vocals or turn off the music. So if I go ahead and click this song here, and then I can click this icon, this is going to take a couple minutes to process because what's happening here is it's sending it up in the back end to a third-party company that we use, and they are processing that, and then DanceCuts will download the file without the vocals, and it works really smooth and seamless once it all works out. But I'm just going to jump ahead about 45 seconds after this has finished processing. Okay, so that is now complete. So if I were to play this song back now, you'll hear that there are no longer vocals in the song. So if I go back here, I can click that again, and once this has processed one time, it doesn't take the entire 60 seconds like the first time you process it. So I'll click that, and it just automatically switches back, and here it is with the vocals again. Without the vocals. And then alternatively, I can change the music as well. I can turn the music off and just have the vocals by themselves. And so that is the vocal remover tool. And just an FYI, this is only available for our premium users because this does cost us each time a user removes vocals from a song. And then lastly, we have our scissors tool. And all this is just a quick way to cut a song that you already have in your mix, just in case you want to split a file rather than copying it over and different things. You can just click here and then click anywhere on a clip, and it's going to splice that clip in half just like that. And I can turn that on with my X key because the X looks like scissors, so I can turn that on and off with that. And I can go ahead and click Control Z to undo that. And that is essentially it. The one thing that I may have forgotten to mention is that with your song bank up here, as you import songs, you'll actually see that you can just switch between these songs really easily. And so if you have 6 or 7 songs in here, it's really easy to navigate through them. And obviously your songs will be named whatever the song name is here, whatever your file name is. Mine are just song number 1 and song number 2 because that's what I named those files. Okay, so now that our mix is ready to export, you can do so by clicking this big export mix button down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And this is gonna bring up a window so that you can decide where to save that song. It automatically defaults to your documents, dance cuts, and export, so they're all just in the same place. So I'm just gonna save it there. Go ahead and click save. Let it do its thing, and we are done. And we have our view my mixes, shown files, and back. So if I click here, this is actually gonna open up a browser window and log me into my DanceCuts account, and you will see that I have a list of my recently exported mixes here, and there is my awesome mix. Right now, we are in testing mode, so this little exports won't actually show up. It'll just be the name of your mix, just an FYI there. And then I can play that, or I can download it, or I can share this via email, or I can delete it. And the nice part about this is that this page here is accessible with your phone as well. So you can just hop on your smartphone and access all of your exports really easily and download them to your phone as well. So pretty cool there. So I'm going to close out of this window. And then the show in files button just shows where that file was exported in case you need to grab it from there and move it or send it via email or whatever you need to do with it. And that is DanceCuts in a nutshell. Hopefully I got everything. We will have this feedback pop up. We would love it if you would just tell us what you think, things we can improve on, things that'll make this easier for you. Go ahead and fill that out if you feel so inclined. But otherwise, that is it. So thank you for checking this out. We really hope this is a game changer for you, and we will see you in the next video.